cannot be that difficult, right?
Hi, I live in beautiful Bern in the city. That's 45 minutes away from the mountains. You can see them here in the background. This is a picture from the mountains. This is me eating. I feed my tomatoes in March, my tomatoes in July. Me and my girlfriend, we make a good team. We go on holiday together, sing together, get COVID together, swim in the city river together, we even in a comic book. But anyway, none of this is actually relevant for this video.
But there is one more thing.
I like 3D, animation, digital art, stop motion, game design, everything that goes with it. I'm almost overflowing with ideas, but I haven't implemented much yet. The question is, of course, why? I have certainly done and learned a few things, but something always came up. To get some context here too, maybe we go back in time. Yes, that's me too, without a beard and without any problems in life.
Willkommen the making of Lego film.
And this was my film set. Yes, a Lego set. I was one of the lucky ones who enjoyed making Lego stop-motion films. With my father's camera and a memory card of 32 megabytes, I produced so-called brick films in iMovie. Great times. That's still me in 2007. I was also testing green screen effects at that time. You notice mine was a bit too small. Result? About 5 to 10 brick films, which I put on YouTube and were viewed about 200,000 times. Quite okay at that time. Let's fast forward a few years. In 2011, we got a bit more serious. With a friend, we produced short films. And yes, this is a bamboo microphone stand. That's how professional we were at that time. Result? About 10 short films with cheap explosion effects. There was a UFO. My colleague was allowed to kiss the beautiful actress. I was painted into an avatar and run over by a car. All in all, maybe 200 views on YouTube. Nobody was interested. But hey, we had a lot of fun. A year later, a bit more digital art again, I produced stop-motion animation again. I recalled the green screen situation. Still remembering 2007, I now simply painted the whole room green. However, the contrast was not strong enough, so I practiced acrylic painting. Well, it served its purpose. After Effects and I became good friends. Result, a Western and the boxing match between Coca-Cola and Pepsi. Fun fact, this was basically my first 3D animation. However, it was all done in After Effects with a primitive digital camera and 2D images that I staggered around the digital space to create a 3D illusion. I knew I wanted to learn 3D at some point. In 2016, the time had finally come. At least, that's what I believed at the time. After a long journey abroad and a mandatory service in the army, I had painted my room at my parents' house grey. I was ahead of the trend of using TV screens as second monitors. How was I going to learn 3D? Preferably with software that was open source. There was this thing called Blender. And more importantly, there were tutorials on YouTube. There was this guy called Blender Guru who uploaded a tutorial series that same year, creating a donut. So there I was, and I tried to create a donut in 3D. Did I finish it? Not really, but there certainly was an Instagram photo afterwards. All in all, though, this remained all I had created with Blender. I was too distracted and preoccupied with myself. The following year, I moved out of that legendary room to the city, to a new phase in my life. There was always art too, but unfortunately no longer as intensively.
Once when I was all alone, I called you and you were at home.
I enjoyed my new life with great people, and I had the crazy idea of going to university after all. This kept me busy for some time. Yeah, for a long time actually. But then in 2021, Shortly before the end of my bachelor's degree, I tried again. I continued where I had started in 2016. New setting, new stage of life. Blender grew and this donut tutorial was still there in a new version though. Did I finish the tutorial series this time? I was caught up with my bachelor's thesis, which still had to be completed, but even this one had to be handed in, and finally, the time has come. (2022). After what felt like 7 waves of COVID, after a few years of studying, and after 2 failed tutorial series, I was ready for a third and final round. I ordered new equipment, and when I was alone in the flat one evening, the moment had come.
Here we go. Yes, where's the camera? There's the camera. Now I will try to do this tutorial a third time, and this time I'm going to finish it.
After this declaration of war, I was extremely motivated and determined. Thus began the donut tutorial series again. Because this Blender guru still existed, had a bit more views now and subscribers since the last time, and he had updated the tutorial series for Blender version 3 to match the number of attempts I had taken in the past, I guess. So I updated the software and then it started. With the first few tutorials, the shape of the donut is modeled. Then comes the icing.
First video done, second video done. Let's go for donut part 3. Yay!
Let's just jump to the next video. We're actually going to start modeling in the dripping parts of our icing.
I'm asking myself if I'm able to do everything in one night.
Answer? No. After only 3 tutorials, I called it a day, and the next day I spent in the mountains to recharge my batteries. I mean, just look at this view. With lots of energy, I went back to the tutorials. After the icing was modeled, the creation of materials followed, so the whole thing looked much better with color and made me quite euphoric.
We're getting there! Go, 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 let's go, let's go.
With this boost of energy, I moved right on, because the next thing was texturing. So my donut should not look like plastic, but like dough. I got to know Blender's node editor therefore. And then came the great pleasure, the first getting to know with.
Oh, there's node madness. I mean, how can you actually understand? What's going on? Why I'm painting?
Yes, the highlight while working through this tutorial series. I activated the annotation tool in the geometry nodes section for a reason I couldn't explain. And I didn't know how to deactivate this.
No! No! I want to grab the stuff. I don't want to paint.
I spent, and this is no joke, unfortunately, 1 hour trying to disable this setting. Physically and mentally beaten down, I publicly asked for help. The only possible savior, the deep internet. I posted a post on Reddit, that's how desperate I was, and the savior appeared under the name another username 99, who after initial difficulties, I shouldn't have confused nodes with notes, presented me with the solution to my problem, Shift and Spacebar. Completely impatient, I tried to fix my situation the next day. During the lunch break in my office, Shift and Spacebar actually seemed to work.
Hello, beautiful world. The key is, as I was told,
Looking at our reference here, it's better if you work from reference. Looking at my reference photo again, which
reference. So I'm too fancy for reference image. I go to reference objects, so I have my reference donuts. Yay! Mrs. Sparty, yes. Ooh. So this is how a donut should look like. That's the thing I'm trying to recreate in Blender. Yeah, looks not too bad, not too shabby.
One donut later, I should have got enough reference to be able to reconstruct the look of the donut. So I worked on the icing, the sprinkles and the light. Finally, the whole thing went into a composition editor which, who would have thought it, also works with nodes. I don't know if this is something very early, but I was already questioning the aesthetic eye of the almighty Blender guru because I resisted to implement the particles and the rim light.
best you can, because
Am I the only one who doesn't like the rim light in his final render? I prefer it without. I mean,
And then we were ready.
ladies and gentlemen, you made it to the end, the series finale of our donut tutorial series.
so then let's finish this last tutorial and then my first 3D render. I don't believe it. I hope my render time is not too bad as I have just a MacBook Air M1, but yeah, it's not the best, I guess.
No, it was definitely not the best setting as it turned out.
Edit, render, animation. Ta-ta-ta. That will take some time. Is that the remaining time? 6 hours and 32 minutes? Aye. So there's actually not much to do. What should I say? My first render is done.
Yes, and that was it. 6 years after my first attempt, I have managed to finally finish the donut. But hopefully, my journey has just begun.